for the winter. We don't need that as much.
Get miso soup.
Line of polka. I'm not in this, right? Food. Rice on, rice off. You're gonna be on video, smile.
What is going on, guys? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we will be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as Stellar Lumens to Bitcoin. As always, if you guys are new to the channel and want to see more content like this, ways to invest, ways to keep track of the market, and your best opportunities to make money, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. This way I know you guys are interested in the channel and want to see more videos like this. Otherwise, as you guys saw in today's title, we are going to be discussing whether or not Litecoin, Bitcoin, crypto as a whole is a bubble. We're going to try to answer that question today. Let's get on with today's episode. As you guys can see, we are on the coin market cap. We have a market cap of 139.9 bill, and then we see a 24-hour volume of 15.3. So we're seeing a slight increase in volume compared to yesterday. 24-hour, Bitcoin dominance is actually gaining at 54.1%. It's actually quite wild because we have seen Bitcoin dominance at much higher. We've seen it up to 70, 80% of the market. 75% I have seen when Bitcoin was, testing that levels of like $20,000 and so on. But otherwise, we are seeing slight increase in a couple of things, even though we are seeing a down market. More of the altcoins do seem to be affected over Bitcoin. Bitcoin only down 2%. We can see the rest of the market is down 4, 5, 6, 7%. Haven't seen much in the double digits yet, but there is quite a possibility that there are a couple coins down in the double digits. We can see a change in a bear market. We are seeing Bitcoin Diamond up 8.5%, and then we do have a couple double digits. Monocoin and Odom are the only ones that are down in today's market. I do want to show you guys a couple of things relative to whether or not this was a bubble or not for Litecoin. So I have a chart pulled up here on Google. It is a pretty interesting chart. I'll zoom in for those of you who have a hard time seeing it. But this is basically a chart representing cryptocurrency, representing Litecoin, representing Bitcoin. So we did have a takeoff in the beginning. I'd say this started towards the end of December of 2017, I believe, starting 2018. Then you can see we had our first sell-off right in the beginning. It's very, very, very similar to Bitcoin's chart, and this is one of Bitcoin. We then, had the media blast this coin up. This is from media. A lot of people were not aware of crypto. We had the markets come in. We had big retail investors, and the media spread a lot of news to really fluff up Bitcoin, to really invest in it, and a lot of people bought in unknowingly, and that pretty much led to the massive shoot up in prices. You can see right here, this is the mean, this is the average for crypto. You can see we were shooting up fairly high. Then you can see, unfortunately, after a ride up to so high of value, we at some point needed to come down, and I know a lot of people were quite nervous. We had our first sell-off followed by a bull trap, which led to us bouncing off and moving back up higher. But in essence, we did have capitulation and we did need to pull back down. And what's happening potentially right now is that we are heading down to the mean. And I don't want to scare a lot of you guys, but it is very possible that we are just breaking the mean right now and heading potentially lower. But we are planning to move back up and, testing that mean once again. And an article that I had that pretty much helps a lot of people clear their mind and think a little more reasonable, not to spread hope, but this is a good article by Cointelegraph, and it says, does a crash in prices indicate the decaying fundamentals of an asset class? So this is in terms of a bubble. Is crypto a bubble? I don't think so. I do think that we did go to levels that were extremely inflated, and we did need the price to pull back down to become a more reasonable semi-stable coin. I do think we will go up in the long-term latter part of the future, and here's a really good summarization as to why. In many instances, the market does crash. But the market usually gets the fundamentals of an emerging technology wrong, both in the short term and the long term. In May of 1997, Amazon's share price was quoting at $18. keep this in mind. We all know what Amazon is now pretty much running the world. Short-term expectations propelled it to $300 by December of 1998. So similar to Bitcoin, we had short-term expectations. We shot the coin up from the $1,000 it started at all the way up to $20,000, similar to Amazon starting at $18 and propelling it up to $300. Obviously, after such short-term inflation and massive adoption of that coin, we then see a slump, a pullback that we're all seeing right now. It then says, and from there, it slumped back to $6 a share after the dot-com bubble burst. So to put that in perspective, it was $18 start, shot up to 300 and then fell to 3 times less than what it actually started at, to $6 a share. At that point, the market was severely underestimated its potential and the non-believers were claiming victory. Similar to what we have now. If you guys ever scrolled through 1 or 2 of my videos and read some of the comments, you can understand that we are seeing a lot of angry, negative, thick-skulled people. Not to say that I'm trying to spread some hope, but we do see a lot of negativity in the chats and in the comments below regarding such a bearish market. So we do see non-believers claiming victory, they think. However, the model proved everyone wrong, and after Amazon became the second company in history to reach a market cap of $1 trillion, blockchain entrepreneur advisor Vinny Lingham said to Cointelegraph, the climate can change once more companies with solid use cases emerge from their development cycles, gain traction, and prove sound business value to make a difference. Just because the prices have crashed, it doesn't signal the end of an asset class. As the price action in the near term is dictated by technicals, let's look at the charts and forecast a probable price action. So I do believe we do have a Litecoin on here, and I did want to read that off. Here we go. So it says the bulls have been attempting to hold the support at $32 for the past 3 days, but have not been able to push Litecoin higher. Still, the oversold levels of the relative strength index point to a probable pullback, which we've discussed in every video. On the upside, the Litecoin USD pair will face stiff resistance at the 20-day EMA, and above that at the $47 to $49 zone. On the other hand, if the bears sink prices below support zone of $32 to $29, we can fall and extend support to $20. So hopefully that, guys, gave you a bit of insight, a different way of viewing things and thinking, mainly in terms of Amazon being that thing to look back on and think about. We've seen an asset class start very similar to Litecoin and Bitcoin at a very low price, shoot all the way up to all-time highs, and now we're seeing it pull back to lower levels than where we started in the year prior. Very, very, very similar to Amazon. And for all those doubters and non-believers, they came out of wherever they lived, their grandma's basements. Who knows? I don't know. They came out wanting to spread FUD and fear, and you saw what has happened, and look at where Amazon is now. Not to say Bitcoin, Litecoin, crypto will go in that route, but it is something to think about, that things do happen when we least expect it. So seeing that there is such a negative, angry market revolving around cryptocurrency, it is very possible that we could see an upswing overnight and really not even be aware that it happened. So it's definitely something to think about. Hopefully those helped you guys out. Similar to what that graph said on Cointelegraph, we are still relatively oversold on the relative strength index. You can see right here claiming 24. We are pretty low. An interesting thing that we have discussed in yesterday's video is the fact that you can see on Litecoin, if I just slowly move it up, I believe, no, it's actually right here. I just have it zoomed out on the daily. I'm going to zoom in really quick on the 4-hour. You can see where I'm referring to. Here we go, that we have had support tested prior. We did break bullish from our downtrend, and you can see currently we are bouncing off the top there. I'm going to zoom back into the daily, and you can see what I'm referring to. So you can see resistance has held pretty strong, but we finally broke bullish from that. We traded sideways out of it and seem to be using it as a support as the top of the coin, which is very interesting in price. You can see we're now bouncing off of here. We hit a resistance, like I said, at 55, 56, but we seem to be spiraling down or scaling down on top of this, downtrend that we had. It was a resistance, and it seems to be acting as a support. We are still extremely oversold on the daily, which does give me the potential to potentially see a reversal, a correction, a pullback, at least back up to $40, potentially up to $55, retesting our high-low minimum moving averages, that green and red band. It is very possible, being that we are oversold, that we could see that swing, that reversal in the short term, and who knows where it goes in the future. So moving on to Bitcoin, we can see that we are, oddly enough, flatlined and sideways trading. You can see we are looking at the 4 hour, so it's a little bit more zoomed in than Litecoin on the daily. You can see we are seemingly trading sideways. We have pretty much flatlined on our oversold line. We're just trading out. I do think that with the way these are looking, we could potentially break that $4,600 resistance, kind of trade up above that, and inevitably go back to $5,500, kind of hang out where our high-low MMA is. Obviously see some sort of resistance here. We may potentially see, if things do trade out, maybe 5,200 being a slight resistance, attempting to break that green band, but we will most likely get caught back in there, and I do think prices are going to rise up in the short term. Lastly, Ethereum being our top 3 blue chip cryptos that we like to review every single day, we do seem to have another interesting pattern that is taking place. Ethereum does seem to be still pulling back down. I just want to bring up its coin market cap really quick. I want to see how much lower Ethereum is compared to the rest. Ethereum doesn't seem to be doing that bad, 4.8%. It is semi-high compared to the other cryptos. It is up there. XRP is doing the worst, but when we look, I do want to pull up, here we go, Ethereum. You guys can notice that where it's heading, where it's trying to go. So obviously looking at this on the daily, you can see a couple of things. You can see strong resistance and support. We had it as a support. We were spiraling down on it. We finally broke bearish from that, you know, traded back down and used it as a resistance, unfortunately. And we have been using it as a huge resistance for quite some time now. You can see once again, major resistance right there. And it seems like we're heading for the $96 support level for Ethereum. $96 to $100 at best. I do anticipate us to stop there. I do think we're going to trade out sideways, but we could be seeing a couple more days of downtrend before we see some, you know, resistance back up or support back up, volatility to help move us into higher levels. But the way things are headed, XLM, Stellar Lumens, for those who are invested in that, as well as Ethereum, are showing me that these two coins are headed lower. We'll see if that, you know, impacts the rest of the market. It'll be very interesting. They are weaker coins than compared to others, but they do have a big major role. Ethereum is number 2 on the coin market cap for those who don't know. So it'll be very, no, sorry, number 3 now. XRP has jumped above it, but it's always neck and neck with those two. XLM, you can see right here, and Ethereum both are in positions where they're supposed to head lower. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly happens. But for those of you who want to try to get involved in Ethereum, I do think it's going to head down to $96, $98. And as far as Stellar Lumens, I think it is headed much lower. You guys can see currently it is hitting some sort of support right here at where we have drawn. But I do think in the long term, in terms of, let's say, all the way to February, end of February, I do think we are due to pull much lower within XLM Stellar Lumens. I do think we're going to head all the way back down to here and then potentially break out and move up, but it is something we're going to have to pay attention to. The Elliott wave is holding on fairly well, and we're going to see, you know. Otherwise, hopefully you guys like this content. If you did, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Peace.